Hello, we're back. It's me, Rollercoaster, here with Sir Will. How you doing, man?
Hey, Rollercoaster. I'm doing great, man. That battle was so fun to watch.
It was so good. Who says you can't win with your favorites?
I love that Dynamax side effect and Mac Ponyta, obviously. But
Yeah, that was the best thing I've ever seen. It was amazing. But new set, new game. Let's take a look at the teams and see what we got here. Chloe appears to be running what was Bevzy's JUX9 League team. It's a really solid composition. Lapras, Zacian, Tapu Koko, Incineroar, Landorus, and Amoonguss.
Yes, and then on the opposing side, we have Hannah running the Solgaleo, Spectre, Tapu Fini, Grimmsnarl, E2, and Larian Moltres.
So, have you seen the Solgaleo team before, Will?
I've seen this particular lead of Spectre with Solgaleo.
Yeah. I really like Specterior Solgaleo. You can run it the same way that you run Metagross, which is Solgaleo has full metal body, the exact same thing as clear body. Its stats can't be dropped. You bulldoze, you drop everything else to speed, but Solgaleo's you trigger a weakness policy, and then it just goes insane from there. Also, Solgaleo is just one of my favorite Pokemon from a design match. I love Solgaleo. I think it looks so cool. It's a big line with like space in its forehead.
Yeah, they took Pyroar, and they're just like, you're done.
We can do better. Yeah, so I really like the Solgaleo team. I played it a few times on ladder. It's really solid. It has like a couple of rough matches, but it's still really cool.
Indeed, it's a threatening one to see for sure, and the weakness policy threat with Spectre, like you said, is so fun. I would love to see it. I know a lot of other people that are trying variants of proccing Solgaleo with weakness policy, so that's pretty common. But and here we have Chloe featuring her shiny team again, our proud in the ATX Discord.
Yes, Chloe, our resident shiny hunter, killing it with all the shinies again. But now, this is, I don't know, this is, I'd say, a pretty solid lead for Chloe. Like, you could either max Quake into the Solgaleo, you could try to get up a Resonance. The only thing is I'm not entirely sure if Lapras can live a max Rockfall from Solgaleo.
Yes, that would put in a lot of pressure, and the extra chip would definitely help dwindle away. And we saw last week, if she's running the same type, it's going to be the Light Clay. So I think Chloe is in her best interest to set up those that Auroraville and the screens because she's got Zacian in the back specific. Just play to that. That's what the team's designed around.
Yeah. Hey, Sam, thanks so much for the raid, buddy. We're looking forward to your match. I believe it is up after this one. Solgaleo is just going to get big, which to me means that Bulldoze, potentially max Rockfall, maybe a Steel Spike. The nice thing about Landorus being a flying type is that it will not be affected by the speed drop, but I believe that it's slower than Solgaleo, or Solgaleo. I don't know how people pronounce it naturally. Ooh!
Oh, that's a big miss, unfortunately.
So Rock Slide misses the Spectre, which is presumably the main thing that Chloe wanted to hit. Steel Spike comes out into the Landorus, and we did discover that the Landorus is naturally faster than Solgaleo. I'm not entirely sure how much that Will-O-Wisp miss matters. I think that this might be a Lumberry Landorus, as Resonance comes into the Specterior, which would have been nice for the Rock Slide connection, because I think that would have KO'd otherwise.
Yeah, the Rock Slide, I would bet that it would have picked up the missing damage that the Spectre but
yeah, Landorus is pretty strong, and Spectre is not that great on the physical side.
Now, you're in a tough spot with the Spectre. I wonder if Hannah decides to go for that Will-O-Wisp again in the Landorus, or just try and get the last breath to proc the weakness policy on Solgaleo, abandon that Will-O-Wisp.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough call here. I'd say that like Landorus is so low that like you don't really need to burn it. And you already have a defense boost, so the worst thing that could happen is an Earthquake that isn't going to knock out or even come close to knocking out the Solgaleo. Chloe does decide to go for the bulldoze to trigger the weakness policy, lower the speed of nothing because Landorus is in the air and Lapras is max guarding this turn. Weakness policy is gonna trigger, and Solgaleo is gonna get a big attack. Oh, fly! If this was into the Landorus slot, this is gonna be really good. Yeah, that's great. That is a great way to deny a turn of max.
Yeah, we saw her play that card last week, going with the fly to sell out make a Dynamax attack miss entirely, and here we see it right again. Not even benefiting from the screens, just going for an all-out dodge.
Yeah. That's really good for Chloe. Specteria is going to switch out. Porygon 2 is going to come in, which is a really great switch because Porygon 2 just eats hits all day, and getting any it's trace the water absorb, and this fly is going to come out. Actually does really solid damage for P2. Rockfall comes out, but I don't think that with the screens up that this is enough to get the Lapras. Oh yeah, that's not even close. I think that it would have survived without the screens, which is good to know for our next game.
Yeah, useful information. That Lapras does not appreciate the huge hit, and the water absorbed trace comes in so clutch on that switch in from Hannah there.
Oh my god, that was a great trace from Porygon 2. That's amazing. Wow, that's actually a really rough turn for Chloe because it's always good to get the damage off onto the P2. Now Solgaleo's a +1 defense. Earthquake isn't going to do as much as you want, and nothing can really stop this Porygon 2 from setting up a Trick Room.
Yeah, it's really odd to see that the Lapras is not Shell Armor, because that's typically the more common ability in here that just totally backfired. But you gotta imagine that Chloe's wanting to get some new mons in while her screens are up, and particularly Zacian, because Zacian could easily do.
Yeah, I think Zacian's going to be the main way that Chloe clutches out this game. But Earthquake coming out from Landorus, now that the weakness policy has already been procced, you have no reason not to. Just get the damage off while you can. That's actually really good damage on a +1 defense Solgaleo. Sunsteel Strike coming out into the Lapras. That's a good protect for a lot of reasons. And Foul Play coming out into Landorus. Okay, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, that's a big knockout. Now the Solgaleo has one of its main threats off the board for Hannah. And did stall out the Sunsteel Strike and allow Lapras to stick around for one more, trying to opt for a new switch in. And as we do see the Zacian coming in while the screens are up.
Yeah, and this is kind of one of the unfortunate things about Solgaleo is that its only ground move is Earthquake, which means if you Earthquake, you're gonna hit your partner. Probably something you want to do. And a reason that Hannah might not have gone for the Trick Room is that not wanting to give Lapras the speed advantage, and also not really knowing what's in the back. If like a Mungus is back there, you really don't want to be fighting in Trick Room. So it's still gonna be kind of scary to set it up. Close Combat comes out from the Zacian. Oh, isn't enough.
Wow, that Max Steel Spike definitely paying off. That'll allow Solgaleo to pick up the hit on probably the Zacian. Maybe take out the Lapras.
Yeah, +2 Sunsteel Strike. Ew. Isn't enough to KO, but does a lot of damage. Freeze Drive does barely anything into the P2, and Trick Room gets set up. So now you can actually get the KO into the Solgaleo, but Zacian's not looking so hot right now.
Yeah, I wonder if Lapras is going to be able to pull off a connect on the Hydro Pump, because it's the most reliable damage to get off on the Solgaleo, so there is a chance for that miss. But Zacian is definitely moving last this turn, and without a protect, it will likely go down.
Yeah. The Trick Room's nice for the Lapras, but only for Lapras. You can get the KO on Solgaleo, but then there's still P2, and P2 has been moving after Lapras, correct? So maybe it just picks up the KO onto Lapras. No, it looks like it went for the Zacian this turn. And Freeze Dry is a resisted hit, but Solgaleo's really low and doesn't have any special defense boost. It is just enough to get the knockout.
Clinging on for dear life almost, but able to get the knockout, and we see P2 with the foul play going in Zacian. Even though that's a resisted hit, that's going to do big damage to Zacian. Probably enough to take out the remaining bit of its health if it had connected.
Yeah, and Zacian's probably going to go down this turn. And the issue is, so we know that Chloe in the back has her Tapu Koko, was it? Or was it Regieleki? I can't remember. But it's going to be a really tough call of what you want to save and what you think the best way to clutch out the game is, because something's going down and potentially even a double knockout this turn.
Yeah.
Foul play comes out. It is enough to pick up the Zacian. It's going to really depend on how the speed interaction between Lapras and... Ooh, Thunder!
Go big.
Ooh, does about half. That's really good damage on the Tapu Fini. But because of the misty terrain, there's no chance for a para full para. Lapras does not survive the Moonblast, even behind the Veil. And even if it did survive... Oh, it's a Life Orb Tapu Fini. Okay, Sandstorm ended this turn. So potentially it could have been able to clutch things out. Regieleki is the last, and I think you're going to need to get a double protect to win this game.
Yeah, gotta stall out those last turns of Trick Room. An advantage significantly here, while Hannah has 3 Pokemon left. I believe in the back is that Spectre, which is still sitting at about a third to 40% health.
Yeah, I also just realized that you can't even double protect to stall out the Trick Room turns because Porygon 2 can potentially just recover while Fini Moonblast. If you don't go for the protect, Porygon gets more than enough health to like finish out the game, and I don't think Regieleki is going to be able to clutch this one out. Although Shiny Regieleki is a great looking Pokemon, and a special attack drop on top of that is definitely not what you need to win this game.
Big reduction in potential to pull this out, but it was slim from the moment it touched the field.
Yeah, Aurora Veil's gone. Regieleki can't take the double up, so you have to protect this turn. And even if you do protect this turn, I don't think it has a way to KO both Specterior and Porygon 2. You'd have to get like an insane throw from Hannah, because I think that she just has this game in the bag right now. Shiny Lucky is clean.
Maybe double crits.
Yeah, I think. So here, there's always a way to win, Will. There's always a way. Here's what the potential win con is for Chloe. You would have to have, so you protect this turn. You would have to have them not protect the Specterior the next turn, them not attack with Porygon 2 and go for Trick Room instead, so you KO the Specterior, then you get 4 consecutive protects in a row on every single turn of Trick Room, and then you crit, para, full para the Thunderbolt, and then crit another Thunderbolt.
That sounds like everything it would take to pull that out.
Yeah.
Maybe the protects are a little much to ask for. 4 in a row. I've never had that before.
Chase almost got a 4 protects in a row on me. He got 3 protects in a row trying to stall out Trick Room once.
It's pretty lucky. That's
we would have gone for that, saying, hey, if there's a win con, go for it. That's what I always say.
Yes. And Woke Flossy in the chat saying, who you can go burr.
So now I think now that you know that your Lapras probably has a good chance to survive the +2 max Rockfall, it's Assault Vest Landorus, not Lumberry, so you don't want to risk getting connected with a Will-O-Wisp this turn. So I definitely understand the adjustment. Leading something like a Moongus so that you can try and Spore the Solgaleo to slow it down that way. You just saw that it has, it could still have Max Lightning, but I personally think that it's kind of unlikely after seeing the Rockfall.
Yeah, I would imagine it's got, with the Rockfall, it still has the Steel Stab we know, and then a Ground type move, most commonly, just defenses off.
Yeah, that's the main way you want to run Solgaleo. You want both the defense boosting moves. And some people either opt for Protect or Trick Room. You usually don't go for attacks on Solgaleo if your weakness policy.
Yeah.
But I think Hannah doesn't really have a lot of a reason to change up what she did from the first game.
No, definitely not. She's got the first win, a little bit of advantage, so she can play it safe and go for that very commanding, very threatening lead, and force Chloe to respond. But I do think we see the Lapras here, and a good adjustment. You called the Amoonguss. I could easily put down the Solgaleo into it.
It looked like Chloe was going to Dynamax the Amoonguss for a second, and I was like, yes, Dynamax Amoonguss.
Just did typing by both sides.
So I think that if Hannah doesn't want to go to sleep this turn, she's gonna have to target the Amoonguss, which is always scary because Amoonguss can potentially protect, and you might want to try and get rid of that Lapras as soon as possible. But yeah, I don't see anything wrong with just going for Resonance and Spore and then trying to stall out Dynamax from there, and then winning from that point with your Zacian. But if you get a Spore off into the Solgaleo, that's really, really good.
With this Spectre being a support, though, there is a good chance that Hannah is packing the Taunt, which could, shut down the Spore capability of Amoonguss. But she does opt, you see here, she does opt to go for that Bulldoze on turn 1, proc the weakness policy, and just let Solgaleo pull out the damage on its own this turn.
Yeah, speed changes aren't really going to matter. Lapras and Amoonguss were already slower. And this looks like it's going to be a Steel Spike, presumably into the Amoonguss, and that's definitely going to be able to knock out. I honestly think that it has a good shot to knock out most Amoongusses, even without the weakness policy boost. But so you trade your Amoonguss for screens, and we'll see how far that is going to be able to get Chloe in the game. Personally, I think that there's a way to clutch it out, definitely, with that.
Yeah. The screens will help. Just gotta hope that you can come in and pull down enough damage on the Solgaleo before it does you. And Landorus would be... Oh, she did not... we see that we...
Yeah. The main thing that's scary right now is that you didn't bring the ground resist with you. Both of the Pokemon in Chloe's back are weak to ground, so potentially we're losing Will's audio a bit right now, so I'm gonna try and carry this for a little bit. Are you back?
Yeah, I just didn't have my my mic down. That would probably help a little bit.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I started going for a little bit of chip into the Solgaleo, trying to get a spread knockout with the Electro Webs. This is probably going to be another Steel Spike. That's actually really good. God, that KO'd Regieleki.
That's a crit.
I
think that mattered.
I think so too. I know that Regieleki's squishy, but like screens are up. It's a resisted hit. I think that crew matter, which is really unfortunate. You're able to get rid of the Spectre, which is really, really good. And you can bring in your last mon, which is the Zacian. But obviously things are really scary right now because Quake into Zacian looks like it's just going to win you the game.
Yeah, that would put down Zacian for sure, I would imagine. The only advantage you have is you stall out the protect, and then maybe when Solgaleo has less health, that you may be able to double it down with a knockout after Lapras gets an attack off this turn. We do see the P2 come back out, which could be setting up the Trick Room, which puts Zacian protecting in a bad spot because now you're a little bit more pressure to attack while you have the speed advantage.
And the worst part is if Chloe wants to get rid of this Porygon 2, she has to go for a close combat, which might not even get it, and then Solgaleo can Quake the Zacian, and then you set up Trick Room, or actually, you know what, do you even want Trick Room in this situation? You may just want to go...
Slow down Lapras, so Lapras would be the second fastest, maybe the fastest thing. Wow, that close combat did a lot of damage. Did that take it out? Or did
it didn't. It survived with 3 hit points, it looks like. That's really unfortunate. Steel Spike just obliterates poor Zacian. And poor
big
Natsume just even go for a recover here. That is... Things are obviously... Oh, Eerie Impulse. Lapras just can't do damage anymore, and I think that's going to be a wrap. Like, it's Lapras versus everyone. This Lapras does not appear to have Perish Song. I think even if you crit this Max Geyser, which honestly, I think based on that damage it might have, that was a crit, yeah.
Wow. That was the crit.
That was the crit. You're just unfortunately not doing enough damage with Lapras, which is kind of the downfall of Lapras, right? The screens are a super busted thing to get from it, but Lapras itself is really, 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 really weak, and anything to mitigate the damage, and if you can't position your sweepers well behind the veil, you're kind of in a rough position. And now you can just kind of Sunsteel Strike and recover, and I don't know if Chloe's going to be able to make it back from that.
Yeah, it feels real bad when your Amoonguss, considerably the tankiest Pokemon on your entire team, just goes straight down turn one, and not being able to offer any kind of support to the Lapras. That was definitely a big turning point, because the sleep was needed. That's just rubbing it in the dirt. Dang.
But at the same time, I understand like Chloe's perspective. Like she's down a game. If she gets the Spore off, she's in a really good position, and you don't really know who the Solgaleo is going to target. You just know it's going in somewhere. I love this animation though.
Beautiful animation indeed.
That
Lapras go down, and that'll be 2-0 Hannah to Chloe.
But I'd say GG's all around. That Solgaleo is just very, very strong.
Yeah, we saw Chloe play really well with her team last week, and having a good bit of use from the screen, stalling out and mitigating a lot of really good damage. This time, Solgaleo just had good type matchup, and also a little bit of a faster Mon Inspector to proc the weakness policy.